It was supposed to be a normal night. I'd just finished microwaving leftovers, chicken stir-fry from 3 nights ago, and was half watching reruns on TV while paying bills on my phone. Just me, the couch, and a blanket. With a hole in the corner she always told me to throw out, she was off on her girls' trip. Cabo, I think. Maybe Tulum. Wasn't sure. She stopped giving me details a while ago. Said she needed time to reconnect with herself. Whatever that meant. I opened our banking app to pay the electric bill. Something simple, routine. But then the number hit me. $3.72. I blinked. Closed the app. Reopened it. Still there. $3.72. From a balance that just 2 weeks ago held over $18,000. I sat up straight, my heart steady a moment ago, suddenly skipped and stumbled. My thumb moved on its own, tapping into the transaction history like it might explain everything. But it didn't explain. It exposed $1,300. Luxury resort booking, $625. Spa and wellness retreat, $2,780. Jewelry store, $9,000. Zelle transferred to an unfamiliar name. $400. Beachside bar, $63. A vegan candle store. It kept going. One charge after another. Back to back, like a shotgun blast. All over the past 4 days, my fingers shook. I dropped the phone onto my lap and just stared into space. My pulse was racing, but I was still numb. I looked around the house, our house, the pictures on the walls, the wine glass she left on the table, the folded laundry she hadn't finished. None of it made sense anymore. I picked up the phone again, checked the account name. Yep, our joint account. Not a mistake, not a glitch, just gone. I sat there in that dim kitchen, phone screen casting, a pale light on my face, while my world quietly unraveled. Not with screams or crashes, just a whisper. A cold, bitter one. This wasn't just money. This was trust. This was our future. And she'd drained it like it was hers alone. And the worst part, she hadn't called. Hadn't warned me. Hadn't said a word. She was still sipping cocktails on a beach somewhere, while I sat there with $3.72 and a sinking gut, feeling that this was only the beginning. You don't start a life with someone thinking it'll all fall apart. I met her at a friend's barbecue. She showed up late, hair in a bun, holding a half-melted dessert she forgot in the car. She laughed about it, called herself a disaster, but I thought she was magic. I still remember the way her eyes crinkled when she smiled. Like she wasn't just happy, she meant it. We were electric from the start. Stayed up talking till 3 a.m. Finished each other's sentences by the end of the first month. The kind of love that makes you believe the movies might have been onto something. We moved fast, but not recklessly. Got a small place together, that shoebox apartment with the broken heater and a view of the dumpster, but it was ours. We painted the walls ourselves, built furniture with the wrong tools and too much laughter. I still remember her singing off-key, while screwing in the legs to a wobbly coffee table. She said we'd make it work like we always do. We opened the joint account about a year in. I remember sitting across from her at the bank, her hand resting on mine, the banker droning on about rooting numbers while we smiled like idiots. The count wasn't just financial, it was symbolic. We weren't just two people anymore. We were us. We talked about our dreams, a little house near the ocean, 2 kids, maybe a dog. She wanted to write a book someday. I wanted to start a business. We promised to back each other no matter what. In sickness and in health, she used to say, even though we weren't married yet. She said it like it meant something. There were late-night talks under cheap. String lights on the balcony. Long drives with no destination. We'd argue, sure, who doesn't? But even then, it felt safe. We'd always find our way back, at least. That's what I thought. So yeah, when I opened that banking app the other night and saw what she'd done, it wasn't just numbers disappearing. It was all of this. All of us, the trust we built in small moments. Sunday pancakes, shared grocery lists, whispering plans before bed. It all suddenly felt like a lie wearing memories as a disguise. And The thing is, I still don't know when she changed. Or maybe I was just too in love to see it. Looking back, the signs were there. I just didn't want to see them. The girls' trip wasn't the first time something felt off, but it was the first time I couldn't ignore it at first. It was little things. She started sleeping with her phone face down. Our dinner conversations got shorter. She'd nod along, smile, but her eyes were somewhere else. Somewhere far. When I asked how she was feeling lately, she'd shrugged. Just tired, she'd say. Or, I've got a lot on my mind. I assumed it was work stress. Or maybe she just needed space. We all do sometimes. Then came the trip. I need a break, she said, brushing her hair into a ponytail while packing. I just need to breathe, you know? A little reset with the girls. Nothing crazy. Wanted to believe her. I even helped zip up her suitcase. She kissed me on the cheek. Like everything was fine. I told her to take lots of pictures. She said I'll try. When she left, something in the house felt different, quieter, like it knew something I didn't. The first day she was gone, I texted her a funny video. No reply. I waited 6 hours, then sent, "All good over there?" Still nothing. On day 2 I called. Straight to voicemail. When she finally responded, it was a dry, sorry, weak signal. Everything's fine. Everything's fine. 2 words that hide 1,000 lies. She'd post occasional pictures on social media. Her on a beach, blurry margarita glass. But none of the girls she said she was with were tagged. One night, I noticed something strange. A reflection in her sunglasses. It wasn't a woman. It was a man. A silhouette. Someone sitting just out of frame. That's when my gut started screaming. But my heart whispered, maybe it's nothing. Maybe you're being paranoid. I didn't want to accuse her. I didn't want to be that guy. Insecure, jealous, controlling. But deep down I knew. The woman I kissed goodbye was already drifting away. And I didn't know how to reach her anymore. She was smiling in the photos. But it wasn't the smile I fell in love with. It was one she hadn't used around me in a long time. It was around 11:40 p.m. I was lying in bed, lights off. Just the hum of the ceiling fan and the sound of a world that suddenly felt too quiet. That's when my phone buzzed. It was a message from her. Not hey or miss you or anything that felt remotely like love, just cold words. I think it's time we stop pretending this is working. I've taken what's mine and I'm moving forward. Don't try to contact me. At first I thought it was a prank, or maybe someone stole her phone, but it was her number. Her style of writing, and she signed it with her name. It's like she was writing a business email, not ending a life we built together. I read it again and again. Each time my stomach twisted tighter. My hands went cold. My ears rang. Then something in me, maybe fear, maybe instinct, made me open our banking app. Balance, $0. 8-3, just 3 days ago. It held over $72,000. Savings for a down payment. Emergency fund. Years of careful planning gone. I scrolled through. The transactions. Heart, THUDD, ING. Jewelry. Transfers to unfamiliar accounts. The withdrawals weren't spaced out. It was a clean sweep. Methodical. All done the day she left for the girls' trip. That trip, it wasn't an escape. It was a getaway plan. The weight of it hit me like a truck. Not just the money, but what it meant. She'd planned this. She smiled at me, slept beside me, laughed at my jokes, all while scheming behind my back. I sat there in the dark, phone in hand, screen still glowing. I wanted to scream. I wanted to cry, but I couldn't do either. All I could think was, she didn't even give me a chance to ask why. No conversation. No warning, just a message and a vanished account. As if I were some phase she outgrew and discarded. That was the moment my heartbreak became real. She hadn't just left, she'd erased me. And in that hollow space, I realized something terrifying. Didn't know the woman I married anymore. Maybe I never truly did. The thing about betrayal is, once you know it's real, Your memory starts rewinding without your permission. Every laugh that felt forced. Every night, she said she was just tired. All replays with a new soundtrack, one of lies. I started remembering things I had brushed off. That late night call she took on the patio said it was her friend Casey, but she whispered she paced. And when I stepped outside, she jumped like she'd seen a ghost, or how she suddenly became obsessed with her phone's privacy settings changed. Started sleeping with it under her pillow. Back then, I told myself not to be paranoid. I'd always prided myself on being the trusting husband, the guy who didn't snoop, didn't accuse, didn't question. But now I was retracing every strange. A moment with fresh eyes, and every road led to one conclusion. There was someone else. It wasn't just the money. It wasn't just the message. It was the pattern, the precision, the way she had removed herself emotionally, physically, financially, like a thief planning a clean exit. Then came the whispers. Friends, neighbors, even her cousin, the one who never really liked me but still had a conscience. Reached out. I didn't want to be the one to say anything, she said, but she's been close with this guy from her office. Real close. I felt sick. I remembered him tall, smug, too many colognes. He shook my hand too tightly. The one time we met, looked me in the eye for a second too long. I didn't think much of it, figured he was just awkward. Turns out, he was waiting in the wings, waiting for the day. My wife would vanish and take our life savings to start a new one with him. And the worst part, he probably planned it all over. Drinks laughed about how clueless I was, shared. Pillow talk about how to move the money quietly, maybe even picked out new furniture with the cash. I'd worked 2 jobs to save. Was I just a placeholder? A backup plan until something shinier came along? I didn't know the answers, but the silence was loud, and it said everything I needed to hear. She wasn't stolen. She left. And she'd been leaving long before I saw that message. They say trust is blind, but I was never that blind. Maybe I didn't. Want to believe she'd betray me? Maybe I hoped she was better than this? But deep down, I'd prepared for the worst. Because you don't grow up watching people take advantage of each other in business, in family, without learning how to protect yourself. So while she thought she was being clever, she didn't know I was 3 steps ahead. Let me explain. A few years back, after a friend of mine got cleaned out in a divorce, he gave me some advice I never forgot. He said, "Love her with everything you've got, but keep one part of your future just for you." So I did. While she knew about our joint savings account, I also had a second account in my name only. It wasn't huge, just a few thousand here, a bit there. But it grew quietly. It held some old investment dividends, a few crypto wallets she never asked about, and a rollover from a freelance deal I never told her about. I also kept copies of key documents, titles, tax returns, account logs, tucked away safely. Offline, in print, not out of paranoia, but because sometimes life turns on you, and you need proof of who you really are when others try to rewrite your story. So when I saw that empty joint account, I didn't panic, because I still had a parachute. She may have taken what she thought was everything, the visible stuff, but she didn't know what I'd built in the quiet, what I had buried under her radar. The ironic part, she was so focused on taking the money that she never thought to look behind the curtain, never thought I might have been watching her too, not in fear, but in foresight. She thought she'd wreck me, but all she did was free me. And while I was heartbroken, yeah, I wasn't destroyed, because my foundation wasn't in that account. It was in me, in every cautious step I took while she thought she was 2 steps ahead. Truth is, I never said I didn't see the storm coming. I just waited for it to pass and made sure I wasn't standing in its path when it hit. Coming back home felt like walking into a crime scene. Everything was technically there, but it didn't feel like mine anymore. The door creaked the same. The hallway still smelled faintly, like her vanilla candles. But the silence was wrong, thick, heavy. It pressed against my chest. I walked through the house like a stranger, every room whispering memories. I didn't ask for. The couch still had her throw blanket tossed over the side. Her favorite mug sat in the dish rack, bone dry, but the photo albums were gone. Her closet? Empty? Not just clothes. Gone were the little things too. Jewelry boxes, makeup drawer, even the stupid cat keychain she always said she hated but kept anyway. And the worst part? She hadn't just taken what was hers. She took pieces of me too. The book I was halfway through, gone. My father's old watch. Missing from the drawer, even the framed photo of us from our first vacation vanished like it never existed. It's like she tried to erase the parts of the house that proved we ever loved each other. I stood in our bedroom and just stared too. Pillows, only one dented. The bed felt colder than the night I spent alone in that hospital room. I opened our drawer, the one we shared for bills. Receipts, random little things empty, except for one thing, a single sticky note. Just 2 words, scrawled in her handwriting. Don't hate me. I didn't even feel anger. Not in that moment. I just felt nothing. Like the emotional weight had gotten so heavy, it finally snapped the rope. I sat on the floor, back against the bed, knees to my chest. The light from the window cut across the carpet like a silent spotlight. I must have stayed there for hours, just existing, thinking about the woman who used to dance barefoot. In this room, the way she'd hum in the mornings, how she once said this house felt like forever. Funny forever didn't last past 1 plane ticket and a man who wasn't me. I wasn't just coming home to an empty house. I was stepping into the shadow of a woman who had already moved on and had to figure out how to live in a place that no longer remembered me. It was quiet when she walked in. Not dramatically late, just enough to make me wonder. She'd show it all. We were at a mediation office. Neutral ground. 4 blank walls, 2 chairs. A glass pitcher of water no one touched. She sat down across from me like I was a stranger. No eye contact. No emotion. Just the same woman I once thought I'd grow old with, now acting like we were strangers waiting for the same train. I looked at her, really looked. Still the same face, same scar on her chin from when we went hiking. And she fell on the rocks, but something in her eyes was missing. I just want to understand, I said. She didn't flinch, just folded her arms and stared at the table like it owed her money. Why? I asked. Why the trip? Why drain the account? Why that way? She exhaled sharply. Didn't say sorry. Didn't say much of anything at all. Finally, she shrugged. It wasn't working anymore, she said. As soon as I left, I felt free. Free. That word rang in my ears like a punch. I wanted to yell, to laugh, to ask how long she'd felt trapped in the life we'd built together. But I didn't, because part of me already knew the answer. Her body was in our marriage. Her mind had checked out a long time ago. Still, I had to ask one last thing. Did you ever love me? It came out quieter than I expected, almost childlike. She looked up, met my eyes. Just for a moment, I think I did, she said, back then. Then she stood. Just like that, the meeting was over. No apology, no tears, no regret as she walked out. I realized something. She didn't destroy me when she left. She destroyed me long before, in all the little ways she stopped choosing me. What I got that day wasn't closure, it was confirmation. And in a strange way, that was enough. Healing doesn't come with a light switch. It comes in small, quiet moments, the kind nobody claps for. The first morning, I made coffee without thinking of her mug. The first night I slept through without waking up from some ghost of a memory. The first time I laughed, really laughed, at something dumb on TV. That was the start, at first. I felt like I was just patching holes in a shipwreck. But slowly, brick by brick, I began to rebuild. I started running again. Nothing crazy, just a few blocks, then a few more. Breath in, breath out, asphalt underfoot. The rhythm reminded me I was still alive. I went to therapy for the first time in my life. Didn't say much during the first few sessions, I just sat there, arms crossed. But eventually the words spilled out. The anger, the guilt. the what ifs. My therapist once said, forgiveness isn't for them, it's for the part of you that needs to move forward. It stuck with me. I reconnected with friends I hadn't seen in years, grabbed coffee, caught a movie. One of them even helped me foster a dog, a big, goofy rescue named Duke, who doesn't know personal space, but knows exactly when. I need company. I started cooking again, cleaning, rearranging furniture, little things to make the cells. House mine again, and the money she stole. Yeah, it stung. But I had a backup plan she didn't know about, a private savings account, investments I never put in both our names. She thought she left me broke, but I was never as careless as she assumed still. This wasn't about revenge. This was about me. I stopped checking her. Social media stopped. Playing old fights. Stopped asking why. Some days still hurt. But pain doesn't scare me anymore, because I know I can survive it. I used to think she broke me. But now I see she just cleared the space I needed to build something better. And brick by brick, I'm doing exactly that. If I could say one last thing to her, I wouldn't yell. I wouldn't ask for answers. I wouldn't even ask for an apology. I'd just say this. Thank you. Not because you hurt me, but because you showed me who I really was beneath the life we built together. You thought you were leaving? Me with nothing. But you didn't take my resilience. You didn't take my integrity. And you sure as hell didn't take my future. When you emptied the account and walked away, I was forced to face the quiet, the silence of a home that no longer echoed with your voice, the cold side of the bed, the ghost of a life we promised but never lived. And in that silence, I found clarity. I realized I had spent so long trying to be enough for you, I forgot how to be enough for me. So no. This isn't a letter of bitterness. It's a release. A letting go of the weight I've carried for too long, because I don't miss the lies. I don't miss the version of love that came with conditions and ultimatums. And I certainly don't miss the feeling of wondering when the next betrayal would drop. I've outgrown the story where you are the main character. This chapter, the one I'm in now, it's quieter, stronger, more honest. I cook for one. I like the peace of that. I wake up to my own thoughts, not your moods. I come home to a space I built with my own hands, not one filled with tension and one way. Pretended smiles. I'm no longer angry. Truth is, I wish you well, not because you deserve it, but because I do. Holding on to hatred only makes me carry more of you, and I've carried enough. So to the woman I once loved, I hope you find whatever it is you were chasing. As for me, I'm done chasing. I've arrived in a place built not on promises, but on peace, and peace. It tastes better than anything we ever shared.